The council tonight also honored a former Topeka police chief for his century of life. The governing body, city leaders, and audience members rose to their feet to applaud former Chief Jim Freel. He will turn 100 years old February 27th and still smiling. Mayor Mike Padilla and current Chief Brian Wheelis presented Freel with a plaque recognizing his service. He started as a motorcycle traffic officer with TPD back in 1949, rising through the ranks to become chief. He retired in 1975. Freel also served in the Marine Corps, earning a Purple Heart for his service during World War II.
We thank him for his. U.S. Marine Corps veteran James Freel is a Purple Heart recipient for his service during World War II. 13's Thomas Schmidt was with Mr. Freel today when he received this very special national honor.
David, James Freel has lived a full life, from serving his country in World War II, from which he got the Purple Heart several years ago, to serving in law enforcement, including as Topeka police chief in the 1970s. And today he received an even more national honor for his wartime service and his milestone birthday. On February 21st, the city of Topeka honored former police chief James Freel for his 100th birthday. And today the recognition keeps on coming.
Each year honors a Purple Heart recipient from each of the 50 states to represent their state. And this year, from all the nominations from the state of Kansas, you've been selected.
Freel turned 100 years old Monday and was chosen to represent Kansas in the 2023 Purple Heart Patriot Project mission in New York in September.
Honored, of course. I'm either one of the more fortunate or the less fortunate. And the people I'm associated with, the people, my relatives and neighbors and friends, I'm just glad I'm one of those that get to stay a while.
James Freel enlisted in the Marines, and in February of 1945, he was among the first Marines to invade Iwo Jima with the 5th Marine Division. During the invasion, Freel was struck in the back of the neck by a piece of shrapnel from a mortar shell.
It was kind of like a bee sting, and I reached up here where it was stung, and pulled my hand away, and it was full of blood, so I reached back here to see if my head was still there, and it was.
Jim was sent to the medical ship, though, for further treatment, where he saw what is now one of the most iconic photographs ever taken.
Sat there in the hospital ship 4 days until they raised the flag. Before they left, I saw the flag go up. Of course, you wonder what you didn't know any of the details of it. It was the most photographed picture, except that girl getting kissed by the sailor in San Francisco at the end of the war.
Retired Army Colonel Russell Vernon is the executive director of the National Purple Heart Honor Mission and says Freel fit the bill.
We just don't look at the military service, it's the service since you've been back from combat. But boy, he served his state, his city, his community ever since he came back. And he continues to serve veterans today.
Even though he's 100, you can probably count on that Mr. Freel will make it to New York.
I'm 100 years old today. I'll try to hang on that long.
It's a piece of cake for a Marine.
Now, the National Purple Heart Honor Mission is largely a grassroots organization and covers the full cost for veterans being honored. Donations can be made through their website at purpleheartmission.org.
Jeremy, thanks. We're going to begin with some sad news on this Friday. A retired Topeka police chief and Marine Corps veteran who's been at the center of attention for a good part of this week has passed away. The family of James Freel confirms he passed away in his sleep overnight. Mr. Freel celebrated his 100th birthday on Monday, and on that day he was surprised with the news that he was chosen to represent Kansas for the 2023 Purple Heart Patriot Project mission. He earned the medal as a Marine during World War II. 13 News was there for the announcement on Monday, and we spoke to Freel in that report right there that's posted for you to see if you'd like to go back and look at it at WIBW.com. James Freel served in the Topeka Police Department for more than 25 years. He became police chief in the 1970s. In a statement today, current police chief Brian Wheelis said the capital city has lost a community treasure, adding he was privileged to publicly recognize Mr. Freel's life of service during last week's city council meeting.
In tonight's Salute Our Heroes, we find it fitting to honor a true American hero. James Freel served his community and his country, and days after the community paused to honor his century of life, we will pause again to say goodbye. If Jim Freel reinforced one final lesson in his life of service, perhaps it is this: Let people know how much you appreciate them while they are alive to hear it.
I love it. I love being with my friends. I like people.
Jim Freel certainly felt the love his final 2 weeks of life. The city of Topeka honored the former police chief and Marine Corps veteran at the February 21st council meeting with a proclamation honoring his 100th birthday. And on his 100th birthday, Monday, February 27th, Freel learned he was chosen to represent Kansas in the 2023 Purple Heart Patriot Project mission in New York in September.
I'm either one of the more fortunate or the less fortunate. And the people I'm associated with, the people my relatives and neighbors and friends, I'm just glad I'm one of those that get to stay a while.
In February 1945, Freel was among the first Marines to invade Iwo Jima with the 5th Marine Division. Shrapnel from a mortar shell hit him in the back of the neck.
It was kind of like a bee sting.
He earned the Purple Heart for his service that also was saluted 4 years ago when Freel was honored with the Buck O'Neill Legacy Seat at Kauffman Stadium.
I'm a patriot.
2 days after his birthday, friends surprised Freel with a party. 2 days after that, Friday, March 3rd, Jim Freel passed away peacefully in his sleep. His daughter and daughter-in-law already have been invited to represent him at that September ceremony in New York, a life of service continuing after his death.
I love this country. I had the privilege of fighting for our country.
Funeral services for James Freel is 11 a.m. Thursday at Topeka Bible Church. He will receive a police escort to Memorial Cemetery, where he will be buried with full military honors.
Former Topeka Police Chief Jim Freel's celebration of life services were held today. 13's Lane Gillespie was in attendance as well. He's live in our newsroom with more.
Well, David, we've shared many stories of Jim Freel and his legacy as a Purple Heart recipient and the former Topeka police chief. He passed last Friday, March 3rd, just days after his 100th birthday. Today, friends and family reflected on his life and legacy. A celebration of life shared the life and legacy of Jim Freel. He was injured at Iwo Jima in World War II and received the Purple Heart. He returned to Topeka and served as police chief. Members of his family and police and military families shared laughter and love during Thursday's services at Topeka Bible Church. Pastor Jim Congdon led the service, saying how fitting it was that Freel received much attention from the media and the public at the end of his life.
And then, less than 100 hours later, after your birthday, on a Friday morning, just before couple hours before one of your last scheduled Purple Heart interviews, you salute the world goodbye and stride into eternal life. What a fitting, blessed, wonderful way to cap off a wonderful life, right?
Honestly, his living to be 100 is the least of his accomplishments in our eyes. But I'm certainly thankful that God saw fit to keep him with us for so long. I know that I am not alone in the love and the respect that I have for this man, as the outpouring of love these past few weeks have shown. Dad, Grandpa, friend, uncle, brother, I already miss you more than words can say. I pray that we can remember you and remember all that you have taught us and make you proud going forward. We love you.
From the church, Freel received a police escort to Memorial Cemetery, where he was buried with full military honors, including a 21-gun salute and the playing of taps. He was scheduled to represent Kansas in the Purple Heart Patriot Project mission in New York in September, but his daughter and daughter-in-law will attend in his place. You can find Jim's stories on our website. David?
What a legacy he leaves behind. All right. Thanks so much, Lane.